Hey everybody, Brimstone here. It's no surprise to me that Superman is carrying a lot of red flags for people with James Gunn's way of handling the movie and other things like that. I have heard things that the cast is fantastic, but the writing isn't strong. And I've had just a lot of things that have, for me personally, been like, hey, well, what's going on here? Why are you doing this? Especially the cast of three additional heroes for a Superman movie in his first foray out. It makes me think he might be trying to recreate Guardians of the Galaxy in the DCU with Superman. And that's just not going to work for so many people. And maybe not enough to make this movie the banger that it needs to be. But apparently they're doing reshoots and cuts and everything like that right now. So we're going to get into this article from That Park Place. Rumor Superman movie cut by 30 minutes. Apparently it was close to over 2 hours before, and they cut a large chunk of the movie. The editor was fired and the tone overhauled after screen test fallouts. And that's never good because and Gunn was always about, well, we're not going to, do reshoots. We're going to write the script, shoot the movie, cut it, and put it out. But apparently they're going back and doing reshoots, which is not good. Viewer response to a recent Superman test screening may have led to sweeping changes from upcoming James Gunn movie. According to a report from World Reel, major last-minute changes from rocked James Gunn's Superman reboot, including the removal of nearly 25 to 30 minutes of footage and replacement of an editor and a sound composer. So what are they need someone to edit better, and they need somebody to have another composer. Wow. So music's getting redone. These changes reportedly stem from the mixed test screening reactions, prompting executives to rework the film in a bid to avoid yet another box office embarrassment for the DC brand. That's right. This movie needs to do gangbusters, and I mean seriously. It needs to make over $1 billion, or else they're not going to make their money back. And this is just absolutely crazy that, again, we just get more and more reshoots because the director has their vision and the director doesn't care what the person wants from a film. A reboot in turmoil. Behind the scenes, tensions is reportedly running high. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav, along with DC Studios co-head James Gunn and Peter Safran, are said to be deeply involved in the final stages of the post-production, scrutinizing every frame. Kind of misfires that tanked The Flash, Shazam 2, Wonder Woman 1984, Aquaman Lost Kingdom, Black Adam, Blue Beetle, and so on. Well, yeah, The Flash tanked because it was based on the Snyderverse. You had an incomplete Snyderverse, and Zack Snyder is not the guy you want to hire to do DC heroes because they tend to be a little bit more hopeful, especially Superman. And Zack Snyder has actually said openly multiple times in interviews that he's not into those type of comics. He's like boobs and blood and sex. So if they're not in the movie, then it's not going to be that great. If you want a good example of a good superhero film done by Zack Snyder, Watchmen director's cut. Absolutely fantastic. So, and Black Adam wasn't too bad. Pierce Brosnan was the best, and I never saw any of these other ones because I actually value my time. Sources claim Gunn's original cut leaned more heavily on humor and creative discussion that apparently didn't land well with audiences. So he did try to do a full-on Guardians of the Galaxy with Superman because that's what he's good at. Stick with what you're good at, not what you don't know. Or audiences or executives in response to multiple comedic beats that were cut from the film entirely, bringing both the tone and the runtime, bringing down both the tone and the runtime. What is one more with what is once a more lighthearted take is now a significantly leaner, more serious presentation. The editor quietly replaced and scenes restructured. One of the more surprising developments is that key editor was quietly removed partway through post-production. This prompted a structural shakeup in the story, and the scenes reportedly being shuffled in some minor additions inserted during recent reshoots. Okay, so there's David Cornsweet as Superman. From everything I have heard, and I pay attention to pretty decent movie critics, Chris Gore, that he said everybody in the cast looks great, everybody is enthused, everybody looks the part, feels the part, but it doesn't matter if the writing is bad. While insiders describe it as a slight tweak, the fact that changes are still being made weeks before the final cut suggests a deeper creative uncertainty. Yeah, so basically that's crazy. They're about 8 weeks from the movie's release at most. I don't know the release date of this film because I have zero intentions of going to see it. I have not been to the box office since Godzilla Minus One, and every movie now for me is on a Godzilla Minus One scale. If you want to know more about that, comment below and I'll make a video about it. In another eyebrow-raising move, Warner Brothers also brought secondary composer to help reshape the score. A kind of mainstream adjustment, midstream adjustment, typically reflects the total concerns of the executive level and reinforces the narrative of the film's direction of flux in the deep road post. On the inside, described as the entire process is slightly course correction, but the amount of behind the scenes overhaul could indicate more than a minor pivot. If they're redoing scores everything that they're doing now is not a minor pivot. It is a massive change, because if there is this much backlash, this much close, they are panicking. There is no way around it. If the test screenings are bombing and getting mediocre reviews, they are panicking behind the scenes because they can't lose money on this. They could shit can James Gunn, and the DC universe could go away for a while. And honestly, it might be the best idea to do it. But unfortunately, they have multiple movies already filming or in pre-production that they just can't do because they'll just lose so much money, and Warner Brothers can't handle that right now. What the final runtime tells us, the film's official runtime was revealed earlier this week, clocking below what many fans expected to be a major superhero reboot. While early cuts were said to stretch over 2.5 hours, the final version now runs significantly shorter, right around 2 hours. This led many to believe that Warner Brothers is hoping to keep the pace tight and reviewers stronger. Well, if the movie's 2 hours, it sounds like it 2.5 hours beforehand. It sounds like you had way too much bloat. Hell, I think 2 hours is still a lot of bloat. You can do an hour and 45 minutes to an hour and a half Superman movie and hit every base you need to hit, but they don't do that anymore. Everybody's got to have their screen time. Everybody's got to have this. Everybody's got to have that. Contracts have to be met, and it's just absolutely insane. Which led to hoping to keep the test painted stronger. The final Superman test screening is reportedly happening this week, which is this week because this article came out last week. This test screening is this week, and whether these sweeping changes have made a difference remains. For now, insiders say there's a tad more confidence from the studio heads that Superman will deliver a clean slate for the DC desperately needs. I don't know. Combined with the overall superhero fatigue and the constant letdowns of movies and the rising prices of movie tickets. So even if you make X amount of money, less people are going to see your film. A make or break moment for Gunn's DCU. While this is the first full-length film in Gunn's newly DC universe, its stakes couldn't be higher. Warner Brothers repeatedly faced wave of skepticism from fans over recent casting and tonal decisions, and now Superman production saga is adding more uncertainty. There is no official comment from Warner Brothers or James Gunn at this time, but the buzz surrounding these last-minute adjustments is hard to ignore. If Superman fails to soar, this entire DCU may come crashing down before it even gets off the ground. But what do you think? These rumors change? Then the sounds, comments below. Yeah. So this article came out on May 30th, so last Friday. And we had the weekend to do it, but this is just crazy. This is not good for the Man of Steel. And this wasn't a hard formula to do. And I understand that every director will absolutely take their own spin on a movie and a character and everything like that. But if you have multiple heroes in a Superman movie and you want to do a pre-established Superman movie and you also want to do an MCU style thing where you have everything going, you need the build-up. And as I've said before, this was a no-brainer to do. You do Superman, you do Wonder Woman, you do Batman, and then you do World's Finest. You can do all of that in 5 years at a great production schedule and a great thing. Write, shoot, cut, put out. And you don't have to do crazy. Here's a Superman movie for you. Do the 20-minute intro of everything Superman is. Go to Krypton blows up, crash lands, Kent's find him. Go through the beginning of what Superman did with the Donner films. But then when he becomes a hero, montage scene it. You do a massive montage of all these great heroic things Superman does. And as that happens, it echoes out deep into space, echoes out and keeps echoing. And you see Brainiac's ship picking up the signals and starts making his way to Earth. Brainiac attacks, Superman defeats Brainiac because Lex was helping him somehow, and that was the flaw in the plan. And then boom, you segue into the next movie somehow. This is not hard to do. It could be an hour and a half to a little under 2 hours long, but this is completely doable. Superman just being super and heroic. You don't need to do a reverse Kingdom Come thing like James Gunn said he wanted to do. You don't need to do any of that. Just do a simple Superman movie where people can go and feel hopeful and happy seeing a great hero on the screen. You don't need Guy Gardner. You don't need Hawkgirl. You don't need Mr. Terrific. You don't need any of them. You just need Superman if you can actually do it. But Gunn doesn't do single solo hero movies. He does ensemble hero movies. And Superman doesn't need ensemble hero movies. But let me know what you think in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, hit that like, hit that sub button, share this out there. Follow me on X under Brimstone. And yeah, all in the comments below. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day.